Welcome back to my channel Knowledge Chronicle.
Have you ever wondered why, despite decades of research and billions spent, cancer still does not have a single permanent cure? Today on Knowledge Chronicle, we'll break it down simply. The history of how we discovered cancer, what cancer really is at the cellular level, the many types it comes in, why it resists cure, and the latest treatments, including immunotherapy and experimental CRISPR trials. Let's begin. Cancer is not a modern disease. The earliest written records appear in the Egyptian Edwin Smith Papyrus, dated around 1600 BCE, describing tumors. Ancient Greek physicians like Hippocrates used the word carcinos, meaning crab, to describe tumors. Later scientists translated it to the Latin cancro, cancer. In the 19th century, Rudolf Virchow showed tumors come from abnormal cells, really starting the cellular view. In the 20th century, we added surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy. And only recently have we begun to use the immune system and gene editing tools as weapons. At its core, cancer is uncontrolled cell growth. Our bodies make new cells for growth and repair, and old or damaged cells normally die in a controlled way. Cancer cells ignore those controls. This happens because of mutations, changes in DNA. A mutation can be tiny, like a single letter change, or large, with chunks of DNA lost or rearranged. Some mutations are inherited, but most are acquired over life, from things like smoking, radiation, infections, or just random errors. A mutation is like a typo in the instruction manual for a cell. For example, a mutation that disables a brake gene, such as tumor suppressor genes like p53, means damaged cells that should die keep dividing. A mutation in a gas pedal gene, an oncogene, can make cells divide too quickly. Together, these changes produce a mass of abnormal cells. You know, cancers are not really just one disease, but actually many different ones. The major categories include carcinomas, which come from epithelial cells like those in the skin, lungs, breast, or colon. And these are by far the most common. Then, there are sarcomas, which arise from connective tissues like bone or muscle. Leukemias are a bit different, since they're cancers of blood-forming cells, and well, they don't form a solid tumor. Lymphomas, on the other hand, are cancers of the immune system. And then there's melanoma, which develops from the pigment cells of the skin. Within each of these categories, there are actually many subtypes. That's why you'll hear doctors talk about breast cancer or lung cancer, rather than just a single cancer with one treatment. So, let's talk about how cancer spreads. Metastasis is the process where cancer cells invade the surrounding tissue, enter the blood or lymphatic system, and then, form new tumors elsewhere in the body. Metastasis is really the major reason cancer becomes deadly, because once the disease spreads, it's just so much harder to get rid of it completely. So, why is there no permanent cure for cancer? This, my friends, is the hard part. Why isn't there a single cure? Well, let's dive into the core reasons. First, we have heterogeneity. Even within one tumor, the cells can be genetically different. Treating one clone often leaves others behind. Then, there's evolution and resistance. Much like bacteria exposed to antibiotics, cancer cells evolve under treatment, and resistant clones survive. Next, we have hidden cells and the microenvironment. Some cancer cells hide in protective niches or recruit surrounding cells to shield them. Metastasis is another challenge because dispersed cells are hard to find and destroy. Lastly, toxicity limits. Aggressive treatments can damage healthy tissue, so we can't always use higher doses safely. Because of these factors, a one-size-fits-all magic bullet is unlikely. Instead, we need smart combinations and personalization. Let's talk about treatments, from the old to the cutting edge. Traditional treatments include surgery to remove the tumor, radiation to damage cancer DNA locally, and chemotherapy, which uses drugs that kill dividing cells. But modern advances have brought us targeted therapy, which involves drugs that block specific mutated proteins driving a cancer. Then there's immunotherapy, which trains or releases the immune system to kill cancer. Two big approaches here are checkpoint inhibitors, which remove the brakes on immune cells so they can attack cancer, and CAR T-cell therapy, which engineers a patient's T-cells to recognize and destroy cancer. Very effective in some blood cancers. We also have CRISPR and gene editing trials, experimental attempts to edit immune cells or correct cancer-causing mutations. Think of CRISPR as molecular scissors guided to precise DNA sequences. In cancer trials, it's being used to reprogram immune cells or disable genes that help tumor survival. These are promising but still in early stages and quite complex. Prevention and lifestyle, or as some might say, rock them and pahe, play a crucial role. Many cancers are preventable. Key steps include avoiding tobacco, limiting alcohol, maintaining a healthy weight, exercising, and eating a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Vaccination against viruses like HPV and hepatitis B is also important, as is participating in screening, mammograms, pap smears, colonoscopies to catch cancer early. Cancer is not a single enemy, but a complex, evolving collection of diseases. That's why progress comes in steady, targeted steps, rather than one permanent cure. With prevention, early detection, smarter combinations of treatments, and new tools like immunotherapy and gene editing, we are making real strides. But the fight continues. Your one like, share, and subscribe will help us create more valuable content.